here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Yes, yes, yes. Conservative, not bitter indeed. You have tuned in to America's conservative, not bitter talk show, and I have looked high and low. For the liberal equivalent of conservative, not bitter talk, and I have been gravely disappointed as I have found nothing. In fact, I can't find anything on liberal programming that's outside of extreme bitterness, rage, and just utter discontent and craziness for that matter. So you've tuned in. Be advised, I should tell you, my legal team tells me this to make sure that I mention that listening to this program can in fact cause you to lean to the right. So please be careful operating heavy machinery today, especially as the economies around this country, the state economies, local economies begin to reopen. So thank you for tuning in and for joining us. Email, by the way, thoughts, opinions, questions, yes, even adoration and praise can be sent to Todd at toddhuffshow.com. You can also talk to Todd at Facebook, facebook.com/Todd Huff Show, or you can call the Huff Hotline, 317-455-5250. Leave us a message, share us your thoughts, and if you're lucky enough, we might just play that on the program. And again, I appreciate you joining us. I want to go back to something we were talking about last hour. Excuse me. We had Representative Andy Biggs on the program, which was I really enjoyed. You know, we don't do lots of interviews, and so we actually spend more time talking with people. Which again, I've said before, I think one of the great problems we have in our society is that we've become a soundbite culture. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't put that to our advantage. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to use that to communicate. We've got to be succinct. We've got to be able to make our points in memorable phrases and something that's short, digestible, but then also be able to expound upon that. And so oftentimes when folks are interviewed, it's really a pet peeve of mine. Someone will be on for 2 minutes, or sometimes there's two guests that share a segment with a host, and they get to answer one question. And I think that is candidly a waste of time. In my opinion, we're a mile wide and an inch deep as a society. And so we have people on for longer periods of time. And so we had Andy Biggs on, and we talked about reopening the economy. We talked about some of the anti-constitutional measures that states and local governments have taken in their effort to make people comply with social distancing rules and so forth. And so I enjoyed speaking with him. But one of the other things that we were talking about prior to his interview that I want to get back to are the transcripts here that show top Obama officials had no empirical evidence of Trump-Russian collusion. And I referenced a couple of these in the first hour, but I want to get back to this because, again, what were we told? We were told by Adam Schiff, who has been exposed as a complete dishonest fraud, a liar. And, of course, on the one hand, we knew this, but on the other hand, we now have documents that prove that he is nothing but a fraud and a liar as it pertains to Russian collusion, and of course, other things as well. But remember, this all needs to be put back into context. Because remember, when did we impeach the president? Not we, but when was the president impeached? He was impeached in December, right? December. Do you know what was happening in December in China, if I'm allowed to say that? San Antonio. I don't know if we're not on the air in San Antonio, but we might have listeners tuned in San Antonio. I know we've had them in the past on podcasts and so forth. So listening may get you in trouble in San Antonio. I don't even know that I can point out the fact that this virus originated, they believe, in Wuhan, China. But that's a fact, and that was happening as we were going through the drama, as we were going through the just the dog and pony show, the smoke and mirrors, the deception Adam Schiff was leading us through in the House, and then eventually Nancy Pelosi was leading us through in the House as well. All that was going on as the coronavirus began to spread, and spread rapidly. In fact, the Senate, if they would have heard witnesses, the witnesses would have been testifying during the beginning of the outbreak here in the United States, because they didn't eventually, when did they end up voting on the articles of impeachment? I think it was early February in the Senate when they acquitted him. All Republicans except for Mitt Romney, who voted to convict President Trump on one of the articles. But nonetheless, that's the context of this. So remember, we were lied to by Schiff. We were told that, you know what, if you guys could see, if you could only see the information that I'm being given, wow, would you be blown away? Would you be completely dumbfounded at at what we're finding out here? It would blow you away. There's so much proof, it would overwhelm you. Okay, now we've got the documents. Now we've got the direct evidence. The lack of direct evidence. We've got quotes of people in the Obama administration that said they didn't have any evidence. I referenced James Clapper, former director of national intelligence, testified in 2017, I never saw any direct empirical evidence that the Trump campaign or someone else in it was plotting, conspiring with the Russians to meddle with the election. That's not to say that there weren't concerns about the evidence we were seeing, anecdotal evidence, but I do not recall any instance where I had direct evidence. He didn't recall it, couldn't put his finger on it, just can't recall. He didn't. Look, they don't want to say no. I don't recall. That gives some wiggle room there to say, you know what, I was given so much, there might be something somewhere that directly implicated the president, but I just can't recall. That's what James Clapper said. What about Samantha Power, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations? She was asked about the same issue. Again, I'm looking at a Fox News article here. She said this, I am not in possession of anything. I am not in possession and didn't read or absorb. I just love this. Absorb information that came from out of the intelligence community. So again, when she was asked if she was in possession, she says, I'm not. I don't have any evidence. Basically, to the best of my recollection, there wasn't anything smoking. It might have been smoldering. She didn't say this, but she might as well have. It wasn't smoking, but it was simmering. It was smoldering. It caught my attention, but I just couldn't put my finger on anything directly. Again, my interpretation, but she continues here. These are her words that I'm about to say. But there were some things that gave me pause. I don't recall intelligence that I would consider evidence to the effect that I saw conspiracy prior to my departure. Susan Rice was asked about whether or not she had any evidence of coordination. You could say collusion. Susan Rice replied, I don't recall any intelligence or evidence to that effect. That's what she said. What about National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes? He was asked about having possession of information, of evidence, direct evidence. He said this, I wouldn't have received any information or any criminal or counterintelligence investigations into what the Trump campaign was doing, so I would not have seen that information. Attorneys, well, I guess not attorneys, but, well, they probably were attorneys. Members of Congress press, and eventually he said, I saw indications of potential coordination. Think about that. I saw indications of potential coordination, but I did not see, the specific evidence of the actions of the Trump campaign. He saw indications of potential coordination. Think about that. Indications of potential coordination. I mean, they just can't say no here. This is how liberals, this is how the ultra-liberal legal crowd talks. I'm sure going to cocktail parties with them would be nothing but a blast. Former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, she said she did not recall that that being briefed up to me, referencing specific allegations or direct evidence of Trump collusion. I can't say that it existed or not, Lynch said, talking about evidence of collusion, conspiracy, or coordination. It's fantastic. These folks, I mean, she can't say that it existed or not, but she has no evidence that it did. I can't say that it didn't because I only know what's brought to me. Okay, so then did it exist? I don't know because nothing was brought to me specifically saying that it did. So then it's safe to say that it didn't. Well, no, I can't say that because there might have been something somewhere out there at some point of the universe that shows collusion. I'm sure some leftist today on MSNBC is saying, aha, here's the smoking gun. Here's the smoking gun. She didn't have it, but she didn't know she had everything. That evidence exists somewhere outside Loretta Lynch. Remember Loretta Lynch, by the way, the one who met with Bill Clinton on that tarmac at Sky Harbor International Airport, Phoenix, Arizona, back right before Comey came out and basically said Hillary Clinton was good to go. She'd been vetted. There's not going to be any prosecution. She's worthy of being your commander-in-chief, basically. Remember that whole stupid nonsense we had to deal with back in 2016? She doesn't recall having any evidence being briefed up to her. What else? Let's look at Andrew McCabe. Good old Andrew McCabe, former FBI deputy director. He wasn't asked that question specifically, but instead he was asked about the accuracy and legitimacy of the unverified anti-Trump dossier compiled by ex-British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. He was asked during his interview in 2017 what was the most, quote, damning or important piece of evidence in the dossier that he now knows is true. His response, I love this. We have not been able to prove the accuracy of all the information. So someone responded, an investigator responded, you don't know if it's true or not. And McCabe replied, that's correct. I mean, it's remarkable. Now, of course, on the one hand, we knew this. On the one hand, this isn't surprising. But on another hand, having this information in the form of public documents that we can now look at, we can now see, what we know is that Adam Schiff is a pure political hack. And again, you could say we knew this before. I grant that. But now science can confirm, the science of documentation, that this guy is a political hack and a liar. There was no overwhelming evidence, direct evidence, that there was anything remotely close to what we were told. No collusion, no coordination. There's not even any evidence to suggest anything in the dossier was true, which is all this whole thing was predicated upon. And now it's as though, crickets from the media. Fox News is reporting it. But the media doesn't care about this stuff. The media is moving on to something else, which is not going to be Tara Reade and Biden, which needs to be covered as well. I saw that she was interviewed on Megyn Kelly. So she, had some challenges to Joe Biden also, which I'll take a break here in a moment. But you may have seen that there's documents that prove that she even told her husband back in 1993 about the allegations about Joe Biden. So there's now evidence corroborating this back in 1993. This thing is getting tighter and tighter around the proverbial campaign, the proverbial neck of the campaign, of Biden's campaign. So I don't know, maybe Bill Bennett, Victor Davis Hanson are correct in their assessment, a 30 to 50% chance that Joe Biden is not the nominee moving forward in November, which is crazy to think about because it sure as heck isn't going to be Bernie Sanders. So now what? Now where do they turn? Now what do they do? Anyway, we'll talk about a couple of other things and maybe venture into that realm as well here as the program comes together. But I've got to take a break. Quick time out. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I am your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA number 4 lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, Freije, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Are you an electrician, plumber, or handyman looking for an 8-to-5 job that pays you what you're worth? Copper Ridge Home Services wants you. Our veteran-owned family business offers holiday pay, weekends off, and on-site training for entry-level positions. Our team is growing, so if you have a can-do attitude, we want you to be part of that growth. Ready for a change? Give Copper Ridge a call at 317-839-6100. That's 317-839-6100. Copper Ridge Home Services. We value your time.
Outside of the federal government, no one likes losing money. Any amount of money, not just the $6 billion the State Department lost. And what makes losing money worse is knowing that we could have done something to stop it. Well, if you have an inefficient furnace, a toilet that won't stop running, or a leaky faucet, you can do something about it. You can call the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Call 317-831-5279 or visit economyheatingandair.com.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end to your property management headaches. Zuluscape has over 20 years of experience helping landlords throughout central Indiana and taking the stress out of owning a rental. From A to Z, let Zuluscape handle it all so you can enjoy owning a rental instead of hating being a landlord. Give us a call at 317-663-8485 or visit our website at Zuluscape.com.
Welcome back. So let's look at something else here in the, well, that has the left upset. Let's look at this Michael Flynn situation. Michael Flynn has now had charges dropped against him. It appears that he had been targeted for some time by the government. We've seen evidence that's come out about this. They tried to, well, effectively trap this guy. It's just reprehensible when you get down to what they tried to do here to secure what they wanted, which was a bad outcome for Michael Flynn. He, of course, has pled guilty, but has now had the charges dropped because the charges were largely created by our government. So I want to read to you a story from AP. Justice Department dropping Flynn's Trump-Russia case. I mean, if you look at the Trump-Russia collusion thing, is completely in shambles. This thing was a joke from the beginning. Trump was right to call this a Russian hoax. This is complete nonsense, utter gibberish, never made any sense to me whatsoever. It's just nonsense. I mean, I used to work in a marketing firm and had the benefit of learning from some folks in that space. And if you're going to try to do something like trick voters into voting for you, and your strategy is to create ads that basically amplify Democrat talking points that are somehow going to be used on Pokemon Go, Facebook, and Twitter, and wherever else to trick people in key swing states such as Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Wisconsin. Trick them to vote for you instead of Hillary, even though Hillary's clearly, they want you to believe, in their best interest as to be president of the United States. And your strategy is to say, I'm going to come up with some sophisticated ad campaign, and then the final step in the process is I'm going to leave it up to the voter. This is not how conspiracies work, folks. I mean, to go through that level of planning and sophistication, there's a process at the end. I mean, it would have included something like Russia hacks machines and changes vote tallies, if that can even be done. That's what it would look like. It wouldn't be the final step of our plan is to let people make their own choice. I mean, it's really silly. I understand the concept of trying to influence elections. We know that folks have tried to do that for forever here, and we know that we've done it elsewhere, right? I mean, we did that in Israel. And no one seems to care about that because it involved, I don't know if it was Begal, I know it was Carville, trying to work against Netanyahu. I don't have the year in front of me, but that's what happened. But they want us to believe that there's some sophisticated plan with a Trump-Russia collusion. Then we've got this ancillary story with Trump-Russia collusion, which is Michael Flynn. Now, his going to prison is a real deal. I'm saying these are all things that spawned off of that made-up nonsense. Made up. The guy ends up pleading guilty. So I'm going to read to you a part of this article. In an abrupt about face, the Justice Department said it's dropping the criminal case against President Donald Trump's first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, abandoning a prosecution that became a rallying cry for the president and his supporters in attacking the FBI's Trump-Russia investigation. Turns out he should have been criticizing the Trump-Russia investigation. The action Thursday was a stunning reversal for one of the signature cases brought by special counsel Robert Mueller. It comes even though prosecutors for the past 3 years have maintained that Flynn lied to the FBI in a January 2017 interview about his conversations with the Russian ambassador. Flynn admitted as much, pleading guilty before later asking to withdraw the plea, and he became a key cooperator for Mueller as the special counsel investigated ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 political campaign. So, he admitted as much. He pleaded guilty. Again, it's just incredible to me. It's like these folks don't stop to pause what our system of justice is. People take plea bargains all the time. In fact, the reason that this story of the woman in Texas, in Dallas, I think, became major news, right? She was she opened her salon, and she was sent to jail because she wouldn't apologize. She said, "I'm not going to apologize because I'm not sorry." She could have said, "I'm sorry." In fact, some in the media, I'm sure, wished that she would have said or thought that she should have. Why doesn't she just play the game? Some might think. Well, Flynn played the game. Flynn played the game. And just because you make a guilty plea in our system does not mean that you're truly guilty. It means if I don't plead guilty, then I have a greater risk to myself. I'm looking at more prison time. I'm looking at greater personal harm to myself, greater punishment that I'm dealing with if I take this plea deal. And by the way, he had to be thinking, man, this government's put me through the ringer here for a long time. They've done things that are clearly just out of control from the beginning. Flynn had to have known this, and he probably thought, look, if I try to fight this, it's not going to increase my chances of beating it. The idea that truth is going to somehow be made known through these folks who are professional deceivers is not a good potential outcome for me. And so, as such, I'm going to take the plea deal. So just because he made the plea deal doesn't mean he was admitting. He was truly admitting he was taking the deal. He was taking the deal. And it's interesting to contrast it, I think, against this lady in Texas, because she went to jail. And all she had to do was say sorry, and she wouldn't have gone to jail. Sorry and pay a fine. I mean, how petty is a judge? Petty tyrant. That's the comment that I think it was, now that I say it, it was Andy Biggs yesterday. He used the phrase petty tyrants, and I think he's exactly right. We've got petty tyrants running around at all levels of government in this country, from county commissioners and town council all the way up to people in federal office. And just because someone says, hey, I'm pleading guilty to this, doesn't necessarily mean that they are admitting to doing it. In a technical sense, yes, but it's about what's in their best interests. It's about playing the legal game. And so we see what happens. The lady in Texas did not play the game. She went to jail eventually. People stepped in and changed that outcome. And I would happen to think that her business is going to certainly get new customers as a result. That's what I was telling Oz here this morning. Anyway, Michael Flynn, this is upset the left. Maybe I'll read one more paragraph here. Thursday's action was swiftly embraced by Trump, who has relentlessly tweeted about the, quote, outrageous case, and last week pronounced Flynn, quote, exonerated, and it is likely to energize supporter of the president who have taken up the retired Army lieutenant general as a cause. So the left's upset about this. We can't be having this. We had this all nicely tied up. We had Trump standing, to be impeached. We had Flynn in jail. We got Manafort. We've got Roger Stone. We've got Papadopoulos. Of course, they don't mention that none of these things have anything to do whatsoever with collusion. Schiff was out there telling us we've got, undeniable evidence that's going to come out. It doesn't come out. In fact, quite the contrary, which we've been talking about this segment and even a little bit last hour. Last segment and a little bit last hour. And now we're supposed to believe that we should all be upset over Michael Flynn. What's happened here? I tell you what we should be upset about is the degree to which our government is prepared to take steps, is prepared to do things outside the realm of their authority and power, outside of the realm and the requirements or the guidelines, the power vested in it by the people in the Constitution. It's appalling. It should be terrifying to every American to watch what is unfolding. You're a political enemy of the state. You better watch out because they're coming for you, and they're coming for you hard. That's what the lesson should be here. Not whether or not Flynn should be in prison because he admitted guilt, even though he was simply taking a plea bargain to avoid a larger problem for himself against an out-of-control, unstoppable, insatiable government that is hell-bent on stopping the president, impeaching the president, and destroying the lives of anyone associated with his campaign or his administration. And that, my friends, is the cold, hard truth, and I've got to take a break. Got to take a break along in this segment. You're listening to the home of conservative, not better talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Hi, I'm Greg Hubler from Greg Hubler Chevrolet. You know, a promise can get lost in a big city, but in a smaller town, a promise made had better be a promise kept. That's why the Greg Hubler Promise covers every vehicle we sell. All new Chevys receive a 3-year, 45,000-mile scheduled maintenance, plus complimentary roadside assistance and a free car wash with every visit. A promise made is a promise kept. Stop by Greg Hubler Chevy today or visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the healthcare they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Hi, this is Kenton with Christian Community Connect. We're a network of business professionals that are committed to living out our faith in the marketplace by preferring one another in love while serving everyone. With online listings at $27 per month, if you're a Christian in business, committed to treating others as you would want to be treated, we would love to include you. Check our reviews and sign up at ChristianCommunityConnect.com.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356. And ask for Richard or Roger.
Welcome back. Gotta get what happened here? Did I lose my camera feed? What's going on here? Trying to troubleshoot on the fly. I've lost my feed from my, Oz is gonna have to come over here. Oz, come over here and reconnect that camera. Not sure what happened. If you're watching on YouTube, I am still here. The camera's just down. So the takeaway from Michael Flynn. The takeaway from Michael Flynn is what we see. Is it dead? No. The takeaway from Michael Flynn is what we see in the scope of our government. right? The power that it's given itself, the power that it's taken. This is the nature of government. The nature of government is to grow. The nature of government is to assume more power. The nature of government, by the way, is force. And so just like anything else, it's just human nature. You start a business, the nature is to grow it, is to make it bigger and better, to hire employees or to, take on new investments or a new division, expand your services. It's human nature to want to make things, sometimes, in many cases, improvement means that the organization is growing. But in the case of government, that's not the case. Government should not be measured. The success of government should not be measured based upon whether or not it's getting bigger. Now, you could say it can be more efficient. You can say it can be, better at what it does. There's certainly things that government needs to be involved in doing. There are responsibilities of the government. Unfortunately, most of those things that we have given the government to do today are not under the umbrella of what is the responsibility and role of government. It's swollen and grown to a level that is well outside the intended parameters or the guardrails that have been placed there by the founders to the Constitution. We're dealing with something much larger in scale, much more powerful, much more intimidating. I mean, we're talking about the government in all aspects of our lives. And we've seen that. We've seen that firsthand through coronavirus. And I think what's terrifying, and I spoke with Congressman Biggs about this, is how quickly people seem to have abandoned key American principles, which is limited government. That is an American principle. An American principle is limited government. Government is not our savior. In fact, as a Christian, I already have a savior. I don't need government to be my savior. You don't either, by the way. And the people don't need it either. And it doesn't mean that there's not a legitimate role for government, but typically that means getting out of the way and focusing to be better in those areas that you are actually tasked with being in charge of or having under your authority, right? These things that are laid out in the Constitution. It's not really complicated. I mean, there's always going to be areas of disagreement around the edges, whether or not the government should touch a particular issue or not. But some of these things are pretty clear cut. And the idea that government can do whatever it wants, tell citizens to shut their businesses down, tell citizens to, just blindly follow their rules and regulations, which can apparently change on a whim, which can apparently result in great punishment for people. And you see government acting petty, dumping sand in skate parks and, jailing people who dare to open their business. I mean, it's craziness what we've allowed to happen. And there's people cheering this stuff on. There's people applauding, saying, this is what has to happen. This is how we save America from COVID-19. Doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter the effect on the economy. Just drive it nose first into the ground. And then they wonder why those of us who follow elections and follow things that they say even during times where there's not crisis, we point out the fact that they being the radical left, they've made it known that they realize that having a bad economy is actually helping them, which is reprehensible to think about. I have Bill Maher on record back in 2018, saying the only way Trump would be reelected is if there was a bad economy, a recession. And he said, I'm willing to take that. I'm cheering, I think basically is what he was saying. I'm cheering for an economy if it means we can save our country from President Trump. Now, again, I'm not saying that the whole COVID was fabricated. I know that there's this video that's been pulled down from YouTube, but What I am saying, is that they can look at this and say, hey, this is the reality right now. We have COVID-19. We have a disease that is spreading, that threatens, at least in particular, certain populations, certain segments of the population. If this can hurt the economy, we'll use it to our advantage. I think that they absolutely have no problem doing that. The strategists, they'll use it to their advantage. Didn't mean that they created it, but it means that they will exploit it. And so I think that's what we're seeing. But the role of government and where government is functioning today is so far outside the bounds of what the founders intended. And we see that in Michael Flynn. We see that in some of the responses to COVID-19. We see that in the size and scope of our government, the power of the IRS, the amount of taxes that people are paying, the amount of government waste, the amount of government debt. You could go on with problems here. And we should be skeptical. We should be skeptical. It was Reagan that said the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. He also said that government's view of the economy can be summed up in these 3 short phrases. If it moves, taxes. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. Now we think, not we, but many Americans think, you know what? It'd be good if the government did this. They can save us from ourselves. Or they can make things better by taking from one person and giving to another. Or they can cure cancer if we elect Biden president, and Alzheimer's and diabetes. I've got to take a break. Quick time out. You're listening to Conservative Not Better Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
I love my community, and I wanted to do more to make a difference with my hard-earned dollars. I wanted to make an impact and help shape our future and our county. So I gave money to the Community Foundation of Morgan County. More than just charitable giving, the money I donate is tracked and measured so every dollar is held accountable. It's a social return on your investment. Why don't you join me in donating at cfmconline.org? That's cfmconline.org. Philanthropy with measurable impact.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back up, $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegieAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegee, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegieAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee & Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Geothermal tax credits are back, making this the perfect time to install a new Climate Master geothermal system. Take advantage of this limited time 26% tax credit and begin cutting your heating and cooling bills immediately. Visit indianageothermal.com/info to get your free Climate Master information kit or call 317-829-1490. Visit indianageothermal.com/info or call 317-829-1490. Geothermal, it's cheaper than you think.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Welcome back. On the YouTube camera here this hour, this last segment, I had to shift to a different angle because we had a trouble with our standard camera angle. So looking at me head on here, which is not the normal view, but nonetheless, it is, it's nice to be able to have. I'm really a fan of this software that we're using. It's called Switcher Studio. Pretty slick stuff. So anyway, been talking about Michael Flynn. We've been talking about the transcripts that were released from that were finally released, telling us what evidence, the overwhelming evidence that Adam Schiff told us that he had. Of course, turns out to be he completely made that up, fabricated it, blew it out of proportion. I want to talk about something here that I mentioned earlier in the program. I haven't talked about it much yet, but Ted Cruz came out yesterday, and as is a common theme and a title of a headline, or excuse me, of an article, headline of an article, it says this: Ted Cruz slams. This is Fox News. Slams San Antonio plan for, declaring Chinese virus to be hate speech. Cruz says this is nuts. So Cruz retweets something from, it looks like from Joe Pags, and referencing the San Antonio City Council that now passed an ordinance that says if you refer to the coronavirus as the Chinese virus or Kung Fu virus, I've heard Kung Flu. In fact, I got to tell you, as a fan of The Office, I saw someone put together a well done meme where different characters of The Office were referring to it as different names. We've got COVID-19, we've got coronavirus, and all these other. We got Chinese virus. We've got SARS-CoV-2, as Oscar said. Then, of course, Michael Scott said Kung Flu and started laughing. But I've never heard anyone call it the Kung Fu virus. I remember that question Trump got from the NPR reporter. What are you going to say to people who are calling it the Kung Flu virus in your administration? Trump's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't think he even repeated it because I'm sure that would be on a soundbite somewhere of Trump saying Kung Flu virus. This says Kung Fu virus. That's hate speech in the city of San Antonio, Texas. I've referenced this a couple times, so I figured I should mention what I was talking about specifically. I'll post it to Facebook as well if you want to read the article and see some of the craziness. Look, if you may think it's a bad idea, and you may, Kung Fu virus is silly, but people, whatever. People, at some point, people need to figure out how to deal with that without getting upset. Sometimes people are just being goofy and silly, but people are really, the Chinese virus is what they're upset about. They think it's racist. They think it's causing hatred towards Asian Americans. But, it's been said by Trump in the past and from time to time, even now, because China is the one who's even blaming us for it. Trump wants to make sure that Trump's a brander. Trump's going to, it's Little Hands Marco. It's Lie Like a Dog Ted Cruz. It's, Sleepy Joe. It's Crooked Hillary. This is what Trump does. This is what Trump does. And it's important when you're dealing with a crooked and, just a group of people that are professional liars in the media to be able to brand something that's closer to true so that you can work with that instead of working with whatever nonsense that they're coming up with. And I've got to take one more time out. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the health care they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We've found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
The compassion of Christ compels us to stop what we're doing and seek that person out. I think as Jesus went in that famous song I sang as a little kid was Zacchaeus, come down. Zacchaeus was in a tree and he wanted to engage with Jesus, but he just couldn't. And Jesus stopped and he went over to him. If we are going to live a life of compassion, the compassion of Christ, are we willing to stop and seek those who need a touch of compassion today?
Welcome back. Once upon a time, and I've just got a few, just a waning moments here of the program, but once upon a time, it was said that if you really want to know if you're an avid defender of free speech, the litmus test is to determine if you can defend someone's right to say something that you vehemently disagree with. I mean, in the pit of your soul, you find it reprehensible and repulsive, but yet you recognize that it's important that they be able to say it, and you, in fact, defend their right to say it without being confused as someone who's agreeing with the content, instead saying they have the right to say this. In fact, I like that they can say it because now we can have a free exchange of ideas and we can obliterate this nonsense in the marketplace, in the free market of ideas. And today it's simply outlawed. You don't like it, you outlaw it. Outlawed. Can't have it. This is an important aspect of a free society, is to be able to engage in free speech. As a Christian, it bothers me when someone, well, it doesn't bother me, but just to think that someone would say God doesn't exist or God is dead. They have the right to say that. So anyway, SDG guys, have a great day, have a great weekend. See you soon.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end